Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It is Tuesday. It's July. I almost said January. July 23rd, 2024. We have a 11-game baseball slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Keith Eys819. Keith, what's happening, my friend?
Not too much. Fast forwarding that calendar pretty quickly. Trying to get to football season or something. It's coming up soon enough.
That would be like the end of football.
You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, fast forward and football. Dude, I started to do so the Scott Fishbowl always gets me like in the research mode. So like I had the live Scott Fishbowl draft recently, and we just finished drafting our you only do 10 rounds live. And it always gets me like doing it. And like, so I just finished drafting like the 20 entry max best ball on DraftKings. I think it's like $3 or $4 or whatever. I love starting with that contest to like get me going for best balls. So yeah, I'm excited for football season. Way too much Jerry Jeudy in my drafts. I can tell you that already. So hopefully he's the guy this year in Cleveland.
We'll see. Super talented prospect coming out. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy for one. But yeah, new situation. He's in Cleveland now, right?
Yeah, he's in Cleveland. Yeah. I'm like, what a good situation for like target potential.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm excited for football. I haven't talked to you yet, but we'll probably be doing football podcasts again this year. So, we've done it together the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's been a lot of fun. So very excited for football to come back. Excited for this slate. This slate's interesting. There's a lot of different ways I feel like people are going to be able to build. And we saw that on Monday as well with some chalkier plays not working out and pitching on Monday, just in general, not working out amazing. Oakland keeps doing their thing. Keith, like, what the heck, man? Like
they're on fire.
Oakland, they're hitting the ball so well right now.
Yeah. I was looking up some stats today because I wrote them up in my Stacks article. They are second in OPS over the last 30 days. They're like fourth in WRC plus. Like they've been one of the best offenses in baseball. And I'm not even saying that like jokingly. They literally have been. It's insane.
So I know anybody that did the morning grind 3-pick parlay yesterday, we're all kind of sweating this Texas game. We really need Texas to win this game. Kansas City is up by 7. We already got the New York win. So if Texas can win here in the bottom of the 10th, we look good to start the week off with a nice little plus 300 hit. So hopefully that works out. But let's talk baseball. 11 games. I posted the morning grind contest in the chat for YouTube. What's up, YouTube? What's up, everyone? A lot of people hanging out over there in YouTube. Yeah, so join the morning grind contest. Last one for a while because I'm out. This is my last podcast for over a week. Keith taking the reins here on the podcast, helping me out while I'm gone. And yeah, so get in the morning grind contest. This will be the last one for a little while. We'll do anything. Like if you want a piece of swag, if you want a 3-day premium, or if you want a NASCAR 3-day when NASCAR comes back in 2 weeks, whatever you want. If you take down the contest today, then you'll get it. So, Keith, 11 games, a lot to talk about. Let's get started. Mets, Yankees, battle in New York, the Subway Series, 8.5 total. Yankees a 160 favorite. Jose Quintana, Luis Gil. Any interest here in Jose Quintana?
Can't do it. Tough matchup here against the Yankees. I know the Yankees have been struggling a little bit, but they're still not an offense I'm interested in picking on, especially not with Jose Quintana priced up at 7,900. Very low strikeouts. He gave up some home runs his last time out, which he hasn't been doing a lot of, but no thanks for me on Quintana going into Yankee Stadium.
At home against the Rockies, he gave up 4 home runs in Citi Field. That's a wild stat. I don't know. That is not the guy. I mean, he continues to be really solid against lefties, and you look at his numbers over the last 30 days, he's been really solid against lefties. He continues to struggle with righties. That's the problem when you're facing the Yankees. I mean, they have a lot of righties that can beat you just in general. So I'm with you, not interested in Jose Quintana. The question is, like, Luis Gil on the other side of this one, he started to pitch better again. I mean, he's had 2 good outings here in a row. Right before the All-Star break, he pitched good against Boston. came back from the All-Star break, that was before the All-Star break too. He pitched really well against Baltimore. 16 strikeouts over those 2 starts, only 1 walk. Something was going on with his command, and that's always really good to see. Are we back on the train here, or are we passing on Hill?
I think I'm back in. I'm just going to chase that strikeout upside. The strikeout rate is still really strong at 28%. If he keeps the walks away, he's been outstanding at times. Like, he's shown flashes of being a very good pitcher. Sometimes the walks give him trouble, and then he ends up giving up some runs, and the pitch count gets way too high, and it's a short night for him. But I don't love the matchup here against the Mets, but I feel like we can chase some strikeouts here. He's down at 9,000. If he was 9,800, I probably wouldn't have as much interest. But I think we're getting a little bit of a discount on the price because he had a couple of rough starts. But the last 2 have been really good, like you mentioned. And obviously Baltimore, a really tough opponent. Boston's no slouch either. So I think he's back in form. I'm on some Luis Hill here at 9K.
Yeah, I don't mind him for tournaments. Not a guy that I think I'd play in like 50-50 double up type contests. Right. I think there's better options just in general today. But I definitely mind, like, it's a strikeout upside. It's like what you just said. Like, it's if whatever was happening with his command is fixed, obviously he has strikeout ceiling, and there are some strikeouts in this lineup. Nimmo, JD Martinez, DJ Stewart when he's in there, Alvarez when he's in there. There are some strikeouts. Harrison Bader has been playing more on an everyday basis. Like, he offers some strikeout upside as well. So I think overall, I don't mind it. They are a patient offense, and this is in Yankee Stadium, which is a great ballpark bump for the Mets. I think he's a good tournament play. Chase the ceiling. We're going to be doing the same thing with Crochet against Texas when we get there in a couple games. Like, we're just going to chase the ceiling against a tough offense. Bats. Any interest in Mets bats here?
Not really. They're priced up. It is a really nice ballpark bump, like you said. But I just don't love the pricing here. I think you just full stack them if you're going to play them because you're hoping you get bad heel. And he runs his pitch count up, walks three or 4 guys, and they touch him up early, and you get into the early part of the bullpen. So it'd be a full stack or not at all for me.
Yeah, full stack, or like, you just kind of hope the command is not fixed. Like, he had a couple outlier games, and his command, because that's the biggest thing with him right now is just his command. So we talk about it all the time. We attack pitchers with command issues because, you get walks, you get bad pitches left over the plate, you get home runs. And this is a great ballpark bump. I mean, they have 6 guys with ISOs over 175 against right-handed pitching this year. So, like, just amazing spot. So, I don't mind the Mets as a full stack, but I'm with you. I don't think I'm one-offing the Mets. I like the Yankees. Like, you got to pay up for Judge and Soto, and this is an incredible spot for Aaron Judge. But the rest of the stack's really cheap. Very cheap. Volpe is 3,900 now. Torres is 3,500. He's getting a righty. They have JD Davis as well, who's 3,200. So I don't mind a Yankee stack here. Jose Quintana, again, really good against lefties this season, but continues to struggle with righties.
Yeah, I don't mind the stack. It's a great spot for Judge. I have more interest in just Aaron Judge than anything else. But the stack is all right as well because it's so cheap. Like, this offense has struggled quite a bit, but therefore the prices have come down. So cheap Torres, cheap Volpe. I don't mind it. I probably like it a little bit less than you do. Like, I don't buy that Quintana just suddenly going to start giving up a ton of homers here. And the Yankees have been struggling quite a bit here. But Aaron Judge is fantastic. The stack is okay for me.
I think Wyatt Langford just brought home our Texas part of the parlay. So no one better to do it than my boy, Wyatt Langford. We got Tampa Bay at Toronto, 8.5 total. Toronto, a 155 favorite. Tyler Alexander against Jose Barrios. Any interest here in Tyler Alexander?
No interest in Tyler Alexander. Low strikeout pitcher, low strikeout matchup. Just no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, what an amazing profile pitcher with that stash. But Not against this team. We talked about it before the break a lot. This team was starting to hit better. Not a team that I want to pick on with a below average strikeout pitcher. Berrios on the other side, you like the matchup. You don't hate the price. But does he have enough strikeout upside to get you there? We've seen him recently in good strikeout matchups take advantage of it. Can we play Jose Berrios at 8,100 against Tampa today?
I think you can. I don't think I'm going to. Like, I'm with you. I kind of like the matchup here. It is a ballpark upgrade for Tampa. But Berrios has flashed some strikeout upside. He spiked the 10 strikeout game against Seattle, had 8 against the Yankees. But like he's just been so inconsistent this season. I don't think I need him on this slate. I'll probably just sit it out and not try to find the spike strikeout game.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. There's a couple of cheap pitchers below him that I think I will take over him. Like just end up over him, like over them, like in ownership. So I mean, John Gray, Bloss, Soriano, like there's options today that we could play under 8K where he's just kind of in a weird price range for me today. Like, I don't necessarily hate it, but I kind of want to go down and then go up with my SP1. So I don't think I wouldn't necessarily tell you not to play him.
Right.
But I don't think I end up on a lot of him personally. I don't think he's a bad play. I think he's more likely to score 18 than 25, and I think I can get 18 out of guys that are $1,000 cheaper than him. So that's why I'm just like lukewarm. I think that's the best way to put it. I'm lukewarm on Jose Berrios today. I'm not running to play the Tampa Bay Bats, but I will say, like, when Berrios struggles, it's typically lefties. Brandon Lau, 4,400 now. Like, his price still kind of lingering in this, like, low 4 range. I don't mind him as a one-off. I'm not stacking Tampa. Good ballpark upgrade, but I'm not stacking them.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of interest in stacking them either. There just isn't really any standout bats. Lau is definitely my favorite, like you said. Lowe is okay as well in the outfield. But I don't think I want to get to guys like Paredes and Arozarena to make it a full stack. Like maybe a little three man I could get behind, but definitely not a full stack for me.
Toronto Bats. I like them as a stack. Gosh, I hate stacking this team, but I like them as a stack today. Low strikeout pitcher. Tampa's bullpen is hot or cold. I think this is definitely a spot like that we can attack Tyler Alexander. Like 19% Ks against righties this year, 230 ISO, 370 WOBA, doesn't generate ground balls, gives up a ton of hard contact. Like, I think we play the Toronto Bats today.
Yeah, I like Toronto a good amount in this spot, actually. They've been swinging the bats a lot better. We talked about Springer like a month ago, right when he started to turn it around. He's been much better. Vlad has been much better, starting to hit for that power again, which we love to see. And then they've called up some guys, and they're still pretty cheap. I love the price tag on Danny Jansen at 3,700, Davis Schneider 3,600, Ernie Clement if he's in there as a spot start against the lefty at 2,900. They're really cheap outside of Vlad and Springer, who are priced appropriately. It's a very affordable stack, and I'm definitely not scared of Tyler Alexander.
Yeah, like with Bichette on the IL, the stack just overall is cheaper too. So I really like Toronto today. I hate stacking this team just in general, but man, I think they're very stackable in this spot. Another team that's stackable. Cincinnati at Atlanta, 7.5 total. Atlanta, a 245 favorite. Nick Martinez getting the start here. Chris Sale starting for Atlanta. Don't expect Nick Martinez to go long. It definitely is an opener situation. I would assume he throws 30 to 50 pitches at most. They're not going to be 30 to 50 good pitches. We'll just start with that. Probably the easiest fade on the slate today as far as pitching goes.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's dealing with a ton of injuries, unfortunately, but he's not a pitcher that you can play on a limited pitch count. No way.
Yeah, we got the over 6.5 strikeouts for Hunter Green that Tim was talking about on the podcast yesterday. Got there barely 7, but it doesn't matter. A win is a win.
A win is a win. Yeah.
hopefully your boy, your boy Assad, hopefully people bet his under outs, like I said, because man, he cannot pitch deep into games right now. So I'm going to keep betting that one. Not playing Nick Martinez, definitely playing Chris Sale. Top pitcher on the slate, not thinking twice about it. Absolutely love Chris Sale today.
Yep, most expensive pitcher on the slate, as he should be. He's the best pitcher on the slate in a fantastic matchup. Cincinnati strikes out a ton. I'm fitting in as much Sale as I can.
That's what I was kind of getting at when we were just talking about Berrios, about going down an extra $1,000 for a couple of those other guys. Being able to play one of those 7K guys and playing Chris Sale. I'm going to play him as much as I can today. I absolutely love this spot for him. Like you said, Cincinnati, they strike out. They'll go right-handed against him for sure, but I don't care. Like Chris Sale, his strikeout rate is so high to both sides, 30% to both sides. Swinging strike rate, whiff rate, all that stuff stays up. He's just having a phenomenal year. Like this is healthy Chris Sale, and he's in Cy Young form, so love him here. I don't think I'll play the Reds today. I think there's times you can leverage stack teams. I don't think today is the day that I do that.
I will not be doing that either. No interest in the Reds.
Hate bullpen games, Keith. I really do. But man, how tempting is it to stack against Nick Martinez today with Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm pretty interested. There's going to be some cheap pieces in this lineup too. Unfortunately, with the Albies injury, he's out for a couple months. Harris is still on the IL. We know they're without Acuna, so there's some replacement pieces in here. Kelenic is 4,200. I think that's a very fair price. And I'm saying this, obviously, you're trying to get up to guys like Ozuna and Olsen and Riley, who are the real stars of the lineup. But you can fit some cheap pieces in and around them as well. It's pretty easy to make this stack work. So I'm very interested.
We should, and Derek just said in the chat, I was going to say it. Riley left the game, and he'll probably be out the next 3 days, paternity leave. So that makes the lineup even worse. Like, I really think it comes down to who the long reliever is going to be if it's announced, because they have 4 lefties in the bullpen. So, like, that makes me worried about playing Kelenic. It doesn't really worry me about Olsen. And it probably helps a guy like Ozuna. He hits lefties or righties. It doesn't really matter. So, kind of think this might be an opportunity to see, like, who the long reliever is here for Cincy and kind of go off of that a little bit to see what we want to end up doing. I'm guessing they are just finally done with Frankie Montas, or did he pitch? I guess he pitched 3 days ago. I'm trying to who is he starting for? Nick Martinez. Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Lodolo didn't get hurt. Yeah, I don't know. It should mention 2 of the lefties in the bullpen are on the IL, so maybe they only have 3 lefties in the bullpen, so that's good. I don't know, because Lodolo's not hurt, Abbott's not hurt. Maybe they just needed a day through the All-Star break. They didn't have a break on Monday, and maybe they just need a 6th starter. Ashcraft's on the IL, so maybe that's who it is. But I mean, he's going to be out for over a month. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a call up for Cincinnati today and Nick Martinez isn't the starter. I will say that.
They could have also stretched Nick Martinez out a little bit over the All-Star break. So maybe he goes 3 or 4 innings instead of 1 or 2, but who knows?
Gosh, I hope we get that news. If we get any kind of news where Nick Martinez is going to go 3 or 4 or 70 or 80 or pitch it, stack Atlanta. Nick Martinez stinks. He is not good. I was just looking, and they don't even really have a prospect pitcher up in the AAA range right now. Cincinnati, a lot of their prospect pitchers, they have Louder, who is really, really good, but he is, I think, single A or double A right now. Maybe they just say screw. They're not a team that is afraid of just going. But if everyone knows, I'm sure most people know who Rhett Louder is. He was drafted right behind Skeens, big arm. Yeah. So Maybe they just call him up and they say, hey, skip AAA and just pitch. Like, that wouldn't shock me, but gosh, man, we'll have to kind of see on the news here as far as the Atlanta bats, in my opinion, because if they're going to be chalky, they worry me as chalk. They really worry me as chalks. Gosh, Atlanta's lineup is the potential of this lineup is so good, but like, what are your final thoughts on the Atlanta bats, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need a little more on this pitching situation. If they were to call up somebody like Louder, I wouldn't have near as much interest. If we get news that Martinez is trying to go 3 or 4 innings, then they become one of my favorite stacks. Like, it's just not as talented of a lineup as we're used to with Atlanta. We do have to keep that in mind, but it is a pretty good matchup here if Martinez is going to get extended for any amount.
I wonder. I had to look into it more. I wonder why they haven't called Rhett Louder up yet. He pitched Saturday. So he pitched Saturday. So he wouldn't get called up. No. So there you go. He pitched Saturday in AAA. I just looked it up. But he had another, or AA. He had another stellar outing in AA. All right, moving on. Pay attention to the pitching situation in this and weather because it's Atlanta and it's summer. Philadelphia at Minnesota, 8.5 total. Philly, a 165 favorite. Zach Wheeler, Woods Richardson. Any interest here in Zach Wheeler?
I do. Minnesota is not a good matchup any longer. They don't strike out. They've been a much better offense here after about the first month of the season. But Zach Wheeler feels a little bit too cheap here. 9,500. I feel like he's a 10K pitcher. We're getting a slight discount for the matchup, so I'm interested. He can go 7-8 innings if things are going well for him. Not a huge strikeout guy this year, so the ceiling is a little bit capped. I think that's the Luis Heel conversation. Zach Wheeler, I think I prefer the upside of Heel, but I still have interest in Wheeler because he's a guy that can go really deep into the game and get you 7 or 8 Ks over 7 innings, and you're in pretty good shape. So I have interest. It's not like the Chris Sale interest, but I will have some exposure.
Yeah. Again, I think you just kind of play a good pitcher in a tough matchup. And I think that's exactly what you're doing with Zach Wheeler today. Like, I didn't want to play Ranger Suarez because he had been just struggling so much. I think this is a completely different situation. Zach Wheeler, very talented, pitching really well, over 7 strikeouts in 3 of his last 4 outings. The matchup that he struggled in was against Miami, and that was just kind of a fluke, in my opinion. Yeah, I like Wheeler. Huge leash, a lot of ceiling. Woods Richardson against Philly, any interest there?
Slight interest just because he's so cheap. I don't have a ton of interest in picking on Philly, but if I'm going down to the 6K range, I think he's fine. I will try to avoid it as much as I can. I'm not excited to play him by any means, but I have some pitch concerns with some of the other cheap guys like John Gray, who we'll talk about a little bit more. Bloss, I think, is a better option, but he's $1,000 more. So he's the cheapest pitcher on the slate that I'm willing to roster probably. And for that reason, I might have a little bit of exposure, but this is a bad spot for him against a really good Philly offense.
Yeah, I feel like this guy is just like king luck. I mean, he just keeps getting so lucky. Like, he's not, I don't want to say he's not a good pitcher because that's not fair. But he's doing a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark and keeping his BABIP down. Like, he keeps running very good. Philadelphia is a team that can beat him. So I hear what you're saying with the price. Like, the price is nice. Like, even if he gets you 18 at 6,200, that's great. So the price is definitely intriguing. I have more interest in the Philly bats because, I mean, pitchers that rely a lot on BABIP and keeping the ball in the ballpark eventually have bad games. And we've seen that multiple times with him this year where he just has had bad games. And I mean, Schwarber, Harper, Turner, Bohm, JT Realmuto's back. Like, the lineup is healthy again. So I just think it's a really tough spot. Marsh was dealing with a sore elbow. But they did say that he is going to be available Tuesday. I think they just kind of gave him a day off on Monday after the weekend series of dealing with a sore elbow. So, like, he should be back in the lineup. So, overall, I think it's just a tough spot for Woods Richardson. And for that reason, I have some interest in the Philly bats. I love stacking Philly because they have such a high ceiling, but I hate stacking Philly because when they don't hit their ceiling, they score like 2 runs and it's tilting. But I'm going to go back to the well here on Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have more interest in the Philly bats and Woods Richardson too, and it's not really close. They're just one of the best offenses in baseball. So while Woods Richardson has been fortunate, I think this is definitely a spot where Philly can beat him up a little bit also. And they're not that expensive. Like Schwarber's at 5,400. That's a great price on Schwarber. Real Muto's price is deflated because he just came off the IL. Castellanos has struggled a little bit, so he's down in the low 4Ks. Like it feels like they should be more expensive than they are. Harper and Turner are priced appropriately up near 6K. Turner 6,200. But I feel like the Schwarber discount, and he spent some time on the IL too. So a couple of guys are just a couple $100 too cheap. But yeah, they're one of the better offenses on the slate.
Any interest in Minnesota here against Wheeler?
No, none for me. Solid offense, but too good of a pitcher to try to attack on an 11-game slate.
Yeah, plenty of offenses with a lot of ceiling, and this is just not one of them. So I'm with you. No real interest in Minnesota. And I like Minnesota. I just don't like them today. All right, moving on. We got Milwaukee at Chicago. We got the Cubs and the Brewers, 8.5 total. Cubs, 120 favorite. Colin Ray, Jamison Tyon. Any interest here in Colin Ray?
There's another guy who just keeps getting extremely lucky. He's been really solid. This Cubs offense is not anything to be afraid of at this point. With Bellinger on the IL, they've got some guys who have struggled. I don't ever play Colin Ray, but I don't think it's crazy. I will try to avoid it, but if I happen to land there, there's definitely guys in the 7K range I prefer more. But I think he's in play if he just happens to fit a lineup.
Yeah, I don't think he's a terrible play. I don't think he's an amazing play, but I mean, recently we've seen his strikeouts tick up against right-handed hitters. And like he faced Colorado, he faced Pittsburgh, he faced the Cubs, and I mean, he had 8 strikeouts against the Cubs last time he faced them. Wind's not going to be a factor here. I think it's like 4-mile-an-hour winds, so like you don't have to worry about that in Wrigley. I don't think it's crazy to take shots on him. I will say, like, when he gets into trouble after like 80 pitches, they're very fast to yank him. So you're always worried about that. But I mean, he's been a really good real life pitcher this year. And it's weird to say because, I mean, he has a 7% swinging strike rate. So, yeah.
That's not good.
No, it's not. I mean, I think the difference between my thoughts on him and Woods Richardson is he's continuously been able to keep his ISO down this year, where Woods Richardson's ISO has been all over the place this year. So he's just doing a good job of generating ground balls and getting out of innings. And I think that with the Cubs strikeout upside, I mean, we keep saying it, like Suzuki, Bush, Ian Happ, Swanson, PCA, they're all over 27% against right-handed pitching. Like that's 5 guys that are going to strike out one every at 4 at bats. You know, you give me 4 to 6 strikeouts in this lineup right off the bat. Like that's fine at 7,400. I mean, he's gone over 20 DraftKings points in 3 of his last 4 starts. So I don't mind Colin Ray in this spot. Jamison Tyon, 8,300. Tyon has some upside as well. Milwaukee's hot or cold. He just continues to give up home runs. What is it, 5 or 6 straight games he's given up at least 1 home run? I don't mind Tyon most days. I like other pitchers that are cheaper than him today. I just don't know if I get to Tyon today.
Yeah, I don't think that I do either. I don't love the price tag. I wish he was about 500 cheaper. And like he's been good outside of those. Like it seems like he just gives up 1 home run every start. But he's been really good outside of that. The strikeout rate's hovering around 19%. Like 8,300 feels just a touch too expensive here against a Brewers offense that can get to him, I think. The Brewers will also run a lot, and Tyon can be stolen on. So I feel like the Brewers can pester him in the start where he doesn't find the upside.
I will say this. I probably want to dig into Tyon a little bit. He's striking out lefties at a 31% clip over the last month. So 121 plate appearances, 65 against lefties, 31% Ks. But the whiff rate's 17.6%. So I just don't know. That's not that strikeout rate with a whiff rate under 20% is not sustainable. So I don't know if he just kind of ran good in some of the matchups, but strikeout 7 against Baltimore, 7 against Philadelphia. Philly was dealing with some injuries. I don't know if that was in that time period or not. So I might do a little bit deeper dive on Tyon before I just like instantly write him off. But I hate playing pitchers against Milwaukee. They don't strike out. They walk. They are very patient. And like you said, Tyon's stealable. A pitcher that gives up stolen bases against Milwaukee is not a good idea. Stealable. Yeah. I might have just made a new word. Brewers, bats, any interest in Milwaukee here?
Yeah, I mean, you can chase some lefty power here, certainly. Love Yelich in the spot. If Bowers happens to be in the lineup, I don't hate that. Garrett Mitchell has been playing a little bit here recently. Has yet to get it really going from what we saw before his injury, but I think he'll eventually get back to that. He's only 3K, so I really like Mitchell as a salary saver. I don't know if it'll be a full stack for me. Tyon does a decent job of limiting the damage, so I don't think he's necessarily getting blown up. I will say the Cubs bullpen is horrible at this moment. So if they are able to get Tyon out of there in 4 or 5 innings, this team has a ton of upside. So maybe a couple of full stacks in a 20 lineup build, but not one of my favorite offenses on the slate.
Cubs bats. Any interest in Chicago Cubs here?
I think it's lefty power you're looking for here. Michael Busch, really like his price at 3,800. Ian Happ has been on absolute fire here recently. He's 4,300. Those would be my 2 favorite options. Tauchman's back and still cheap. If Crow Armstrong is in there, he's cheap, has some speed. Again, probably not a full stack, but I think there's some pieces here that you can look to.
All right, moving on. White Sox Rangers, 7.5 total. Texas is slight 125 favorite. Crochet and Gray. I mean, I think just putting the matchup aside and attacking the ceiling for Crochet is playable. I read some stuff where like he was dealing with a couple things. We randomly got like the pitch count thing right before the All-Star break.
Yeah, we have to talk about that. Like, are they just going to do this until they trade him? I'm concerned about the leash here. Like, if he's
I don't know
50 pitches, we can't play him. But if they go back to 90 pitches, then he's one of the best plays on slate.
Did they say it was because of the trade deadline, or it was because of the All-Star break?
They didn't explicitly say why, but they said that they would be limiting his next couple of starts. So I will know that the manager came out and announced that he was on a pitch count before his start last game. So I will be looking out for that tweet again, or checking beat writers and things like that. Like, I have a suspicion he's on a pitch count again. So we definitely need to be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. He has obviously been a very hot ticket topic. I can't speak today. But a topic as far as the trade deadline. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, is he? Are they like? Did they do it because of his innings that he had? He was a reliever last year, so I just don't know. It's not like the White Sox are gonna try to make the playoffs. They have 27 wins or something. They're the worst team in baseball. So it's not anything to do with that. I just don't know his contract situation right off the top of my head either.
He's in arbitration. I believe he has 2 more years of control under arbitration for the next.
How do you let this guy go? That's my thing. Like,
they're terrible. They have no talent in their entire organization. He's their only valuable piece. So they're going to trade him for an absolute king's ransom.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. They don't. I mean, they have the one dude. What's the one guy? Montgomery or whatever.
Yeah, Colson Montgomery, I think his
Yeah,
name is.
he should already be up. But
Yeah.
it's so like if you have 27 wins at the All-Star break, how are you not calling up one of you? Like he's their top prospect. Yeah, not coming from somebody that like bitterly has him in some best balls because I always use my last couple picks on guys like that. But yeah, okay, so Crochet is all about news. If we don't get any news, now you have me concerned. If we do get news, it's easy fade or play depending on the news. But if Crochet's a full go against Texas, I'll definitely take shots. If he's not, easy fade. I mean, I don't know. They obviously could showcase him one more game, but they're going to be very careful with this guy because, like you said, they really don't have much as far as prospects, if I remember correctly, like you said. So it wouldn't be bad for them to move him for like 2 or 3 really strong prospects. But yeah, I guess we'll wait and see on the news. Let's talk John Gray. The White Sox stink. John Gray threw 1 inning his last time out, and that was just a few days ago. It really, to me, could have been a bullpen session that like they just let him work an inning because they were getting smashed by Baltimore. So I don't know if I'm necessarily too concerned about that because it was right after the All-Star break and it could have just been a workout day. I think if we don't get any kind of news, we expect John Gray to go out and throw 70 to 80 pitches like he has been doing.
Yep. Yeah, I'm treating it just like it was a bullpen day. So that's exactly like somewhere around 75 pitches is where he has been, and that's where I expect him to be in this start. He's only 7K, and he's facing the White Sox. So even if he doesn't get 75 pitches and 65 pitches, I still might have a little bit of interest. He hasn't been phenomenal, but 7K against the White Sox, I think I'm going to have some interest either way. Obviously, I hope we get some sort of news on the pitch count, but if we don't, I'm assuming that he's going to be right in that 75 range again.
Do we take shots on him at 7K? I mean, I feel like you have to play him a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to kind of see how the slate shapes up. There's options in this range. Like John Gray isn't the only option. I have a lot of interest in Soriano, who we'll talk about here in a few minutes. And I have interest in Blouse going up against Oakland, and we'll talk about that. Even though like Oakland keeps smashing the ball, so I'm a little scared. Any interest in the White Sox bats here?
No, even though John Gray hasn't been in the best form, I just can't play this team. There's no talent here. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. They're cheap. I'll give them that. Like, if you wanted to take a piece like a De Jong or a Senzel or Benintendi, even like they're cheap enough where you can use them, but no stacks for me.
Yeah, Baldwin is a guy that I talked about on the podcast yesterday. I know he had an art. Yeah, he hit. Yeah. He stole a base. I mean, he did exactly what I told you guys that we wanted yesterday. He got a hit, he got an RBI, and he stole a base. And he was 2K. I don't know. I think he ended up with 11. I haven't checked again. But I played him a little bit. He's 2K at second base. I mean, and he has speed. So speed at 2K is just instant in the player pool for me. Because like, it's the same thing I said yesterday. He doesn't kill you with a 0, but if he gets you 10, he's a huge difference maker, and that's exactly what he did. I don't know. I think he ended up with 11. So, they hit him down in the order too. I think he was like he hit like 8th or something. He scored 10 points exactly. So you give me 10 points for 2K every day, I'll play you. But he's really the only guy that I have a lot of interest in. And it's just basically because he's minimum salary. Any bats on the Texas side?
I think this is dependent on the Crochet news as well. If Crochet is limited to 40 pitches or something, Texas might be a really sneaky stack because the White Sox bullpen is trash. If Crochet is a normal workload, I have no interest. If Crochet is limited, then I have some interest in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, the Chicago White Sox bullpen continues to be a bottom 3 bullpen. We've talked about it all year. They have the second highest whip. They're a great team to stack against, bullpen wise too. So if you get pitch count limit last time was 2 innings. So if you get that news again, stack them up. No doubt about it, because the bullpen stinks. Arizona at Kansas City. No total in this game. Supposedly, Jordan Montgomery expected to get activated and start here. 56 simulated pitch game last Thursday, so I don't expect him to pitch too deep here. Alec Marsh pitching for Kansas City. I think there's enough pitchers on the slate, Keith, where I don't have to play Jordan Montgomery today.
Yeah, no interest. He was terrible before he went on the injured list, so now he's on a limited pitch count. I get there's a discount on the price tag, but I still have no interest.
It's shocking. It's really not. I'm being sarcastic, but it's shocking when a person misses spring training and is late to camp and stuff that he struggles.
Put it together, right?
Hey, Blake Snell. But yeah, I'm not playing Jordan Montgomery today. Any interest in Alec Marsh against Arizona?
Arizona, not a team I like to pick on. I tried to do it with Cole Reagans Monday night. Didn't work out so great. I don't think I'll be going to Alec Marsh here. There's some talent here. He's right around league average on the strikeouts, but 7,500 against Arizona, I think I can pass. This 7K range, we talked about John Gray. We're about to talk about Soriano. I think you just live there if you're going to 7K range.
Yeah, Arizona on the season hasn't been great, but they've been a lot better recently. Their 30-day numbers are way better than their current season numbers. So, and same thing with Alec Marsh. He just threw out the bullpen the other day. I wouldn't be alarmed by that. It was definitely just, we see this all the time for like 4 and 5 starters after the All-Star break. Well, they'll work an inning out of the bullpen in games that are not close, and they were winning that game by a lot. So, don't be alarmed by seeing his 1 inning the other day. I don't think I get to Alec Marsh today, and it's more of, I think Arizona is finally starting to remember how to hit the baseball, which is great. Any interest in the Arizona bats?
Not a ton. I think Marsh is a decent enough pitcher where I can stay away from Arizona for the most part. If you want to take a Jock Peterson one off, that's fine. Corbin Carroll is hopefully going to come alive here. Been waiting on that all year, basically, but I don't have a ton of interest in the full stack. Peterson is probably my favorite one-off. Christian Walker, Kettle Marte, you can always play.
He started to warm up. Corbin Carroll did right before the All-Star break, so maybe he's starting to get healthy. I don't know. Kettle Marte, Jock Peterson, Corbin Carroll, all very playable. Christian Walker has been sneaky good righty this year. So I have more interest in Arizona. I think I'd play them as mini stacks, though. I don't think I'd full stack Minnesota or Arizona. Sorry. Kansas City, a team that I absolutely love again, though. I don't trust Jordan Montgomery to come out and pitch well at all. And I think Kansas City has a ton of upside here with some of these right-handed power bats. And Jordan Montgomery is a guy that, even when he is pitching well, he just doesn't strike out right-handed bats. So Bobby Witt, Salvador Perez, Hunter Renfroe, Garcia has been excellent against lefties this season. I hope that we get a Blanco start here because he has wheels too. But I like the Kansas City bats, especially the righties in this matchup.
Yeah, I love the Kansas City stack in this spot. Bobby Witt Jr. is just absolutely incredible. Has been on an absolute heater.
He's really good at baseball.
He is indeed really good at baseball. I have interest in the whole stack too, though. Sal Perez is great. Renfroe, I really like in this spot. I like if Blanco's in there, I love that call as well. But yeah, stack him up. Witt is just an absolute superstar, though.
Yeah, and this might be a day that you get Salvador Perez hitting DH, and you get Furman.
Yep.
Also in the lineup, and you get a cheap catcher. I think he has a 3. Yeah, where is it? He has a 399 WOBA against left-handed pitching this season. So Nick Lofton's been good against lefties this year too. So the Royals haven't had a player hit for a cycle since George Brett in 1990. All right. You guys can get, if you ever on Grinders Live and you want to get Dean riled up, just start talking about the cycle. Like, that Dean never played baseball when he talks about how the cycle isn't like this great feat. Like, that is all I'm going to say. One of the hardest things to do in sports, not just baseball. Boston at Colorado, no total in this game. Cooper Criswell definitely going to pitch. Ty Blotch is expected to start for Colorado. Not expecting him to go too deep here. They've had him stretched out at times. We are coming off the All-Star break. They could have potentially stretched him out a little bit. I don't think it matters. We'll talk about that. But any interest here in Criswell at this like ridiculously low price against the Rockies?
I don't think so. I get it, but no. Like, I don't see the upside. I know the Rockies are terrible, but Criswell's not very good either. He's just, especially for DFS, just so low strikeout. So you're hoping for what? That he can get through 6 innings, and can he do that without giving up a run? I think that's even unlikely. So 6 innings and 2 or 3 runs, like, does that get you to 15 points? Maybe. I don't think I'll be taking the shot though.
I think it's an ownership thing for me. If he's projected for like 5% and I'm building my 20 entry max build, I might play like 15% because I feel like the type of lineups you can get with him at this price point are going to be really good. So if you get that 15 to 20 point game from him, I think you're pretty happy with that. So he's a ground ball guy. He doesn't strike out, but man, the Rockies strike out people. I mean, they just strike out at such a high clip. So maybe his stuff works better because he doesn't have good stuff. Maybe his stuff is just better at altitude. Listen, he's been awful recently. I don't want to like sit here sounding like I'm endorsing him a lot, but if he's going to be like 5% owned at this price, I'll definitely roll the dice and play a little bit of him.
You prefer him to Woods Richardson for 400 more?
I do. I do. Listen, I'm just not a Woods Richardson fan.
Neither am I. But
the guy
the same argument you're making for Criswell and that just the lineups you can build with that pitcher in your lineup. That's the same argument I was making for Woods Richardson.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like,
but
I think
I'm doing it against the Rockies. You're doing it against the Phillies.
Yeah, Woods Richardson's also better than Criswell though.
Yeah,
and he's not.
But it's the Rockies
in Coors Field.
I know. I know.
Neither one of them are good. We're just dumpster diving here. But
oh yeah, I mean,
interesting arguments.
We're gonna talk about a pitcher. The next 2 games we have pitchers that I really like, so we'll talk about those guys. But not playing Ty Blotch. I'm guessing you're not playing him either.
No.
Yeah. Any interest in the Boston bats here in Coors?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how deep Block's going to go, but Boston is, again, one of the best offenses on the slate. A little bit disappointing on Monday night. Getting a lefty again is not great. They strike out so much against lefties, but I think you just have to go right back to them. They're going to have the highest team total more than likely. It's another great spot for them.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously I watch a lot of Red Sox games. I talk about this all the time. I'm a Red Sox fan. Everyone knows this by now. The pinch hit stuff is starting to bother me a little bit. Like I played some Westbrook. He hit a home run. I'm not complaining. He was really cheap. He hit a home run. I'm not complaining. But like, why are we pinch hitting for him so early in this game? I didn't love that. Ref Snyder got pinch hit for, and then Abreu came in and pinch ran. Like, disappointing. They scored 7 runs so far. Yeah, I mean, I am disappointed in all the pinch hitting. I'm not talking about the runs. I'm talking about them pinch hitting.
Scoring. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that is, I mean, that's a concern as far as Boston is the pinch hitting. But yeah, I mean, listen, Ty Blotch stinks. You could play lefty against him. You could play righties against him. Yeah, don't be afraid to play the Red Sox today. Outside of the pinch hitting, pinch hitting. I wasn't talking about them scoring 7 runs. I was talking about the pinch hitting. Colorado side, McMahon was out of the lineup Monday. They talked about having like a jam finger or something. Like that obviously is a huge hit to this lineup because he's the best hitter in the lineup. What are we doing here? Yeah, like I might play a little bit of Criswell, like I said, if he's low owned, but I think I want to play Rockies today too because Criswell stinks.
Yeah, I'm on the Criswell stinks also. But the Rockies, like, who do you click on in this lineup? Especially if McMahon is out, like, there's just no comfortable clicks. Tovar has struggled a little bit. He got off to a great start this season. Has been a little bit worse recently. Prefer Brendan Rodgers against lefties, but I mean, he's cheap enough. He can take shots. Brenton Doyle has a little bit of speed upside to go with a little bit of power. So Doyle is the most expensive, but probably my favorite play if McMahon's out of the lineup. Yeah, it's not a fun offense, but it's Coors Field against a bad pitcher. So I will take some shots.
Yeah, Hilliard is 3K, and this guy is striking out or hitting the ball really hard. He hasn't had a lot of at-bats this year, but when he has had at-bats, he's striking out or hitting the ball really hard. So the fact that he's 3K, I wish they'd move Jake Cave down and move Hilliard up into like the 6th spot, but I think you could still take shots on him at this price point hitting 8th because he's hitting the ball hard, and that's what you want at the end of the day. Can always play Jake Cave. I mean, you can. No one's telling you can't. Houston at Oakland, 8.5 total in this one. Houston, a 135 favorite. Bloss, Bido. Any interest here in Jake Bloss?
We got to talk about what Oakland is doing on offense. It's been incredible. So I like the ballpark. I think he's a decent enough pitcher to take shots on at 7,200. But this Oakland offense might be for real. We're going on like a month worth of data here where they're one of the better offenses in baseball. So they still strike out a lot. So I'm interested in Bloss for that reason. Like, I think you just chase the strikeout upside. If they hit a couple of home runs off him, so be it. There are worse ways you can spend 7,200 on. So he'll be in my pool. I'm not excited about it because this Oakland offense on the other side has been so good.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried that they progressed him too fast, and I've already said this once on the podcast before. So I'm a little concerned about that. He got super unlucky in the Miami game, so that, I mean, he has that going for him. But I mean, it's hard not to say Oakland has so much strikeout potential. So could you take a shot? Yeah, but on the flip side, holy crap, Oakland's crushing the baseball right now. They got inspired and watched some Moneyball or something because they're just hitting the ball super hard right now. I think Bloss is talented. He's been able to throw a lot of strikes so far. I worried that they progressed him too fast. And this is a guy that started the season in single A ball, I'm pretty sure. So I think he had like 7 or 8 AA starts, 1 AAA start, and right to the majors. So I worry about them just progressing him too fast. 7,200 against Oakland. They still strike out a ton. So I think you could take shots on him today. I still like Soriano more. That's the next game. But, man, we're going to definitely talk about the Oakland offense too, even though I don't mind Jake Blouse because they're just crushing the baseball right now. Yeah, you really, really cannot say that Field of Dreams wasn't a top baseball movie. What For Love of the Game is another baseball movie I absolutely love. As a Red Sox fan and a Jimmy Fallon fan, I like Fever Pitch. A lot of good baseball movies. Hardball, first time I ever watched a movie or cried, don't care. G-Baby, man, what a fantastic movie. Bido starting, not expected to pitch deep here. I mean, I don't know. I don't expect him to pitch deep anyway. He was stretched out, got put to the bullpen, came out of the bullpen recently through 8 pitches. What are we doing here? I really have a hard time thinking that he goes more than like 60 pitches.
Yeah, I think even at that, like, I'm just not playing him. Houston is a low strikeout offense. We have no idea what the pitch count will be. I think 60 is probably right. You're in the right range there. I think 80 is probably out of the question. So I don't think he's playable.
Little Big League with Ken Griffey Jr. Oh, man. Gotta love Griffey in his prime. Randy Johnson, I think, was in that movie too. Man, I love baseball movies. The legit baseball movies are great. All right, I'm not going to get too sidetracked, but I'm super curious. What is your favorite sports movie of all time?
there's some really great football ones too. Remember the Titans is probably on the football list.
Oh, that's my favorite sports movie. I absolutely what a fantastic movie. Like
that was the first one that popped into my head. Yeah.
And I will say, like, if the replacements are on, I always watch it because I think that movie is hilarious. So I mean, there's a lot of good football movies, like you said. But yeah, I think between Remember the Titans, dude, the basketball movie with Shaq and them, Blue Chips, that's a fantastic movie. Hoosiers is a fantastic movie. I think like probably Remember the Titans and Hoosiers are probably my two favorite sports movies. Hoosiers is just so good. All right, bats, Houston bats first. Any interest here in the Houston bats?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jordan Alvarez 5,500. I'm in on that for sure. The rest of the stack is cheap. Altuve is priced up, but Bregman's still down at 4,400. Pena's at 4K, Diaz at 4K, like cheap enough where you can take some shots here for sure. I'm not afraid of Bido. I don't love the ballpark. And Houston's lineup is a little bit watered down, especially with Tucker still out. But I'm interested for sure.
All right, chat is rolling off some good movies here as well. Comments. Leave your comments below on the YouTube video if you're not hanging out with us live. Tell us your favorite sports movie. Hit the like button and subscribe too. You're already going to be there. I don't mind Houston. I hate bullpen games. They're eventually going to start hitting again. So I don't mind them. I like more offense is better than Houston today. Keith, I got to keep stacking Oakland, dude. Like they're just hitting everything right now. Langeliers, Roker, Blade, Butler, absolutely love going back to Oakland, even with a little bit of interest in Blouse.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Even if I end up playing a little bit of Blouse, I am going to be right back on these Oakland bats. They all have power. They're still cheap enough where they're really easy to stack. Lawrence Butler leading off at 3,700 is just a fantastic value. Blade is still cheap at 4K. Love Langeliers and Rooker. They've just been hitting the crap out of the ball. Both their barrel rates are around like 16.5% to righties when I checked earlier today. Just it's not a mirage. Like they have legitimate power in this lineup. They're going to strike out, but that doesn't matter because when they're on and hitting home runs, they can win a slate. So I'm probably going to be stacking Oakland pretty often here down the stretch.
Yeah, like the prices are catching up a little bit, but not enough. Just going to keep playing them. LA Angels at Seattle, 7 total. Seattle, a 190 favorite. Soriano against Gilbert. My favorite cheap pitcher on the slate today, Jose Soriano. Anderson just had 8 strikeouts against this team, and Soriano's a better strikeout pitcher than Anderson. The Seattle lineup is it's so bad. JP Crawford's banged up. Julio Rodriguez is banged up. Just gonna play Soriano. I know he just faced this team. That was like a week and a half ago because of the All-Star break. Gonna play Soriano. Hopefully keep the walks in check, and I'm just gonna play him a lot today.
Yeah, I played him a ton in that last start against Seattle before the All-Star break as well. The walks are an issue. They will continue to be. And you want the strikeouts to be a little bit better than they are. The guy throws 100 miles an hour. You would expect him to be better than a 20% strikeout guy, but he probably will be in this matchup, and he's 7,600. So we've hinted at it a couple of times for like point per dollar. I think he's one of the best options on the slate for sure.
And then you got the other side. I mean, Logan Gilbert is no slouch today. He gets excellent matchup. He just dominated this team right before the All-Star break. I mean, these two offenses stink. Both of these pitchers are top end today.
Yeah, right there with you. 10K for Gilbert. He's behind Sale for me, but not by a lot. The matchup against the Angels is awesome. I will definitely make sure to play some Gilbert in tournaments.
Yeah, but Gilbert becomes way more viable if the weather in Atlanta is bad. Like, there's projected some weather. We don't want to touch pitchers at this price point on weather. So we'll see what Roth has to say, but it's a really easy pivot for me from Sale to Gilbert if Sale gets ruled out because of weather. So, fantastic spot. I got nothing from either side that I even remotely want to play in this game.
I don't believe that I do either. Maybe Cal Raleigh as a one-off would be my favorite option on either side, but even that, I'm not in love with anything.
I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. I didn't check his stats tonight yet, but Moniak is someone, if he keeps hitting up towards the top of the order, but they hit him 6, so I want him hitting second. I'm not playing him hitting 6. I want to hit in second. He's hitting, so why not? All right, we finish it out. San Francisco, LA, Dodgers, 8.5 total. Jordan Hicks, Landon Knack. Dodgers are 145 favorite. Any interest here in Jordan Hicks?
Not against the Dodgers. I don't think I can do it.
If he had been pitching better recently, I think you could. But like he struggled so much recently that I just don't see how I can do it. I'm not afraid as the Dodgers as much as I have been. They have a lot of injuries right now too. Landon Knack just doesn't have a knack for ceiling. I'm out.
Nice. That was a beautiful play on words there. Same feeling. If he was a little bit cheaper, I'd have some interest, but 8K average strikeouts, I'm out.
Man, I got the dad jokes. I had them yesterday too. Watch out. Yeah, if he was 6K, I think I'd play him, but not at 8K. No chance. I would play Woods Richardson over Landon Knack. There you go. I'd take the savings. Any interest in the San Francisco Bats?
They're not a team that I really like to play. Slight ballpark upgrade going into Dodger Stadium, but I don't think I'm on. Like they still pinch hit enough. The platoons, like it's a hard team to want to stack. I don't mind Soler as a one-off if you want to chase some power, but other than that, I'm no real interest.
Any interest in the Dodgers here?
Again, like just kind of a tough team to play because the back of the lineup is so bad and the players you want to play are so expensive. I talked about it a little bit with Philly, I think it was, but just like I want to play Ohtani and I want to play Freeman and Smith, but I'd probably play them more as one-offs than in a stack because it's too hard to fit them all in there together. So as a stack, they're kind of middle of the road for me, but I think Ohtani's a fantastic play. Freeman's a fantastic play. I'll have some exposure, just not a ton of stacks.
All right, let's play the morning grind game, and then we will get out of here. I posted in the chat a long time ago. I'll post it in again here in just a second, but join the morning grind game for today for this slate. Comment below your favorite sports movie on the YouTube page. Yeah, and hit the like and subscribe. I hate doing it, but do it for us. It's a free podcast 5 days a week. And bringing fire. I think we've hit 3 out of our last 4 3-pick parlays. So
nice.
Hopefully we keep that going. All right. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got?
I'm going to take the layup here. I know you're on him as well, but this is an awesome spot for Soriano.
Yep. Space Jam. Oh, one of my favorite movies of all time. I wouldn't necessarily call it a sports movie. I know it's basketball, but one of my favorite cartoon movies of all time. Sorry, I made some fajitas tonight for dinner, and like the peppers are like giving me indigestion out of nowhere. So I had to drink some water. All that to stall because I really wanted to say Soriano and Keith's a jerk. Give me Colin Ray. I don't necessarily think he gets 6 strikeouts, but it is the Cubs, and they like to strike out. Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
I'm going to go Jose Barrios. Decent matchup against Tampa. He's just been so inconsistent this season. I think he's a little off in this one again.
Yeah. I am going to go Tyon, even though he probably gets it. I don't think there's a lot of options today. Crochet, if they limit his pitch count,
that'd be the layup. Yeah.
Happy Gilmore, man, sports movies, just so many good sports movies. Over 4K to hit a home run, not in cores. Who's going yard today?
Give me Salvador Perez. I know Bobby Witt's been on absolute fire. He's obviously a great option as well, but I'll go Sal Pal here.
I'm going to go to my boy, Vlad Guerrero Jr. This is a guy that was starting to crush the ball, and he came back from the All-Star break, and he's crushing the ball. Give me Vlad to go yard here. Greatest Game, low-key, fantastic movie. I watched that movie the other night, actually.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's a really good golf, based on a true story golf movie. That's a good one to watch. It's on Netflix. They have Netflix.
Sweet.
I think. Actually, it might be on Disney Plus. I think I watched on Disney Plus. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bat that you like today?
I like the Blue Jays quite a bit. Give me Davis Schneider under 4K here.
All right. I'll go to the other one and say Ernie Clement to get 2 hits today.
Love it.
Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got?
Love the Royals today. Montgomery returning from injury. Wasn't good before the injury. Don't think he'll be that great coming back.
I feel like I just need to keep going. Give me the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of keep pointing out all the Blue Jays if I'm not going to say it? But yeah, give me Toronto. I will say I think Arizona is a sneaky stack today that gets the job done as well. Any player props or pick'em plays that you like on this slate?
Let me do a quick refresh. There wasn't anything out from a player prop really before we jumped on here. Still doesn't look like I'm seeing any pitcher props. I'm not seeing anything up.
I have a note on my computer. I have like sticky notes that I put on my computer, and I have a sticky note to check Soriano's strikeout prop. That is one that I really want to check. I want to check the Woods Richardson outs. I think this would be a good spot to potentially bet his under on outs. And we have a couple weather games, the Atlanta game, the Yankees game. So see what Roth has to say on those games. I love taking unders of pitchers props in rain games because if you get a delay like 2 or 3 innings in, you're getting the money. So I'll check those. But yeah, there's not a lot of props up in general right now. Is there any other bets that you like here?
Nothing really that stood out to me. I was hoping, what was it? The Angels-Mariners game total was a little bit higher. It's down at 7. If it was 7.5, I think I'd take the under there. It's 7. It's more of a meh play for me. So if you ever see that, if you see Seattle Angels at 7.5, I like the under there.
Hey, that's part of my 3-pick parlay because it is 7.5 on the Hard Rock app. So.
Nice.
And you can sometimes just pay the juice to get it at 7.5 too. But
yeah, definitely.
So my 3-pick parlay, let's 2 for 2 would be a great way to end the week for me because, like I said, Keith taking over for the rest of the week for me. I'm going to go Phillies to beat the Twins. I really like the fact that Zach Wheeler is going up against Wood Richardson. So give me Philadelphia to win at -160 on the Hard Rock, but it's always pretty close. Under 7.5 runs, Seattle and LA. And the Blue Jays money line, -150 against Tampa. Really like that offense today. Thought about just betting their total runs, but they are the Blue Jays, and they are tilting. But give me the Blue Jays to win that one. So that one came out to +370 on the Hard Rock app. So hopefully close to what that is for everybody else. Let's hopefully get 2 for 2 here this week. That's going to wrap it up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind YouTube page. It keeps growing. We absolutely love the chat, hanging out with us when we're doing the shows live. With the last 10 minutes, there's been nothing but good sports movies posted in chat, and I love it. Makes me want to go watch Space Jam now. Yeah, that's it. Hope everyone has a fantastic Tuesday. We're back tomorrow talking baseball. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.